And for the namesake of this channel, I decided to bring a classic trash movie in the video of today, as I always promise. As I mentioned before, one of my favorite monsters of movies is the Frankenstein creature, a misunderstood and unfairly treated creature that had its origins on the classic book of Mary Shelley. Besides being a creature that had its body created by using other body parts, which is something fascinating for me. And usually the tradition of these stories in this character is that they are scary and tragic. Since the universal classics like Frankenstein and its sequel, The Bride of Frankenstein, until the most recent adaptations that had their inspiration from the original tale, like the Tim Burton movies Frankenweenie and Edward Scissorhands, one of my favorite movies in my life. But some years ago I discovered a new interpretation of the character with a female version that is probably now one of my favorite versions of this character, because it has two things that I love most in this life: the Frankenstein monster. Did I say that out loud? I may cut this in the edit. Hello, my name is Gus and I love movies, and especially trash movies, more than anybody that I consider normal in this life. And only a madman can love this movie that I will talk about today, called Frankenhooker. And I remember talking about this movie in a normal conversation with my friends, and everybody looked at me going, "Gus, do you have some issues?" And I said, "Yes, I do." So if just like me you are not a normal person in this world, please consider to give your like in this video and subscribe to the channel, so we can continue to trash everything in this life together. But now talking about the movie, Frankenhooker is directed by Frankenhooker. I don't know if I pronounced his name correctly, but I think it's funny his name is Frank. A true king of trash horror movies with a lot of comedy in them. Having directed many movies in this genre, but his greatest classics are the movies in the Basket Case trilogy, which I'm probably gonna make a video talking about them in the future. The story of twin brothers that are connected physically, but one of them is like a tumor character with face and arms. And the story of Frankenhooker is about this guy here named Jeffrey, a guy who is an electrician and has a degree in medicine, although he was expelled from 3 universities. And having performed a bariatric surgery in his girlfriend slash bride slash future wife, the wonderfully charismatic Elizabeth. And he is also an inventor in his spare time, having built a moonlower so that Elizabeth could give her father in the old man's birthday. The greatest gift for a father-in-law. But obviously the machine gets out of control and accidentally kills Elizabeth in front of everyone in the party. Relax, the scene isn't explicitly shown, which increases the comical factor of it. After the accident, Jeffrey collects Elizabeth's head, which was the only thing left intact from her body after her death. And in Dr. Frankenstein's fashion, he decides to bring her back to life with a new body. For this, he will need a new body to put in the girlfriend's head. So he decides to go out at night to find a perfect body for his girlfriend. After all, if he's gonna bring her back, why not bring her back with certain new improved attributes? And what better place to find these attributes in those places that are hidden in the corners of the streets, especially in New York. Being straight to the point, the cat house, the disorderly house, the sporting house, you know what I mean. So Jeffrey arrives there full of cash, and our dear girls of the night and her pimp Zorro become excited about him. So he makes a deal with this pimp Zorro that in the next day he will come back to take some body measures from the girls with the purpose of finding one that has a perfect body. And an excuse that is all part of his dirty fantasies. So after setting this deal, he starts to prepare for the idea that in order to have this body, he will probably have to kill one of these girls. But since he is not a murderer or an evil guy in any capacity, he thinks in a way to do so that is acceptable in his perspective. So he produces a super drug that when is used by any person, this person explodes. So when he finds a girl with a perfect body, she will use the drug, explode, therefore he will be able to collect her body parts. So this is when the movie has a little bit of fun with a social commentary, since that in Jeffrey's point of view, the people that work in these areas are already killing themselves with drugs, so by doing this he will only accelerate the process, which is an absurd. Anyway, in the next day, he goes to the date, dressed as a doctor, by the way, and starts to take the girl's measures. He spends a long time analyzing each body to find the perfect one, but showing that he has a conscience after all, he can't go ahead with the plan of killing one of the girls with the super drug. But that doesn't matter because the girls find the drug anyway in his suitcase and they go insane, starting to use it with no regard, having a huge messy party taking Jeffrey along, and it really becomes a huge mess, with Jeffrey trying to prevent them from doing the drug, but they don't care and use it anyway. Consequently, they start to explode in one of the trashiest and most amazing scenes that you will ever see in your life. And I'm pretty sure that if you're watching this video just by listening the audio, you're thinking right now, what? The girls start to explode? That must be a very gore and shocking scene. No. It's here that the director Frankenhooker shows that he's pretty aware of the trashiness and comedy of his movie. Because the visual effect used for the girls exploding is nothing more than mannequins exploding with fireworks inside. Perfect. And now with many body parts available, Jeffrey goes on with his plan of bringing his dear Elizabeth back to life. So he reconstructs her body and in the best Frankenstein fashion brings her back to life in a tempestuous night. But, as expected, she comes back not only with these women body parts, but with their way of work programmed into her mind, let's put it like this. She also becomes a professional looking for clients on the streets, capable of speaking only the lines,
"Want a date? Going out? Looking for some action?"
Almost a Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. And then comes the best scene of the movie where Frankenhooker wanders on the streets of New York, looking for clients, approaching men, and tossing them away once they refuse her. And the ones who accept her, she electrocutes them with her energy during the act of, with the electrical discharges in her body. And this is where the movie shines, because besides being unapologetically trash, making you laugh off the absurd, the actors and actresses are fantastic, especially the main actress Patty Mullen that does a phenomenal job with the body language of Frankenhooker, especially the quirky mouth that she does once an electrical discharge goes through her body, a facial expression that became her trademark. And besides being beautiful, the character is extremely charismatic because of the actress. Because similar to the other actors, she embodies the absurd of the character, and to see that in the screen makes her even more adorable. Unexpectedly, she becomes very similar to the original version of Frankenstein because of these elements, portraying a creature that besides being a monster, she is adorable. Because this is the main nature of the Frankenstein character, a monster that we connect with. And this level of identification is something that I love when a movie is able to bring, especially when you connect more with the monster than the human characters around. By the way, till this day, the actress Patty Muller shows up in horror conventions, making appearances as the Frankenhooker, taking pictures with fans, doing the quirky mouth, and besides still being a beautiful woman in my opinion, these appearances show that she must be an amazing person, embracing the legacy of the character with no hesitations and making the fans happy. I love when actors have this attitude. And now talking a little bit about the spoilers of the movie, so if you don't want to know anything so you can watch the movie later, you can skip for this time in the video. After a crazy night in the streets of New York, Jeffrey is able to bring her back home. He makes some adjustments to his experiment so that Elizabeth can regain some of her consciousness and personality back. And he is successful, but before he can enjoy the return of his bride, the pimp Zorro shows up because he followed them home, looking for revenge because of what Jeffrey did to his girls, exploding them. And in a merciless way, he decapitates Jeffrey from behind. And then he tries to attack Frankenhooker, displaying natural acting abilities similar to the naturality of a big brick wall. Seriously, it looks like he's being voiced by an actor that is even worse than him, but I guess that works for the trash factor of the movie. So in one of the most bizarre scenes of the movie, the body parts from the girls that were still left in the lab come back to life and kill Zorro, taking him to the depths of a freezer to do God knows what with him. and at the end of the day having only the decapitated head of Jeffrey, just as what happened with Elizabeth in the beginning of the movie. We have a mirror of what happened, but this time with Elizabeth doing an experiment to bring back her fiancé, but since he had only spare female body parts, she reconstructed his body using them, which means he comes back with body parts from, well, you know what I mean. Anyway, Frankenhooker is one of the best examples of when you see the effort of the creators in trying to create something unique. Because this idea could only have been brought by someone who had used the super drug or had a very bizarre sense of humor. I love it, and I have to say that from my point of view, besides the movie having adult jokes, a lot of nudity, and having some kind of social critique, the movie finds a balance between being bizarre and adorable. Cause whatever the movie is, besides having all these elements, I think he is very tastefully done. But of course, that's my opinion. And the best thing about Frankenhooker is that you can find the full movie here on YouTube. And even better, the movie is only 80-something minutes long. That's a miracle. What about you? Did you watch Frankenhooker? Did you like the movie? If you didn't, are you planning to watch? Leave a comment below. And once again, don't forget to give a like in this video and subscribe so I can continue this project of bringing trashiness, pure and beautiful trashiness, to our lives. And that's it for today, guys. See you in the next Trashing with Gus, and bye-bye.